Hey YouTube, today we're going to be learning some basic strategy about how to play the best game ever. And that game is chess. Why? What did you think I was talking about? Anyway, full disclaimer, I am rated about 1100, so I am not, and that's in Blitz. So I'm not like the most qualified person to give advanced lessons or even intermediate lessons, but I can show the beginners what to do if they want to get up to above 1,000. Because I struggled for a long time bringing my rating up over the 1,000 mark, and almost instantly I crossed 1,000. It was like less than a month to get to 1,100. So I just want to show you some things that I know about the game. Let's begin. So first of all, you have to know what all the pieces are and what they do. This is one of the simplest things, and if you're watching this, you probably don't need it. But you know, some people out there, they don't know things. They got to learn. You got to start from the beginning. So these pieces here are all the pawns, except this one. This is a super pawn. No, it's a pawn. I just missed it. And each side starts off with 8 pawns. They start on the 2nd or the 7th rank, and each of these pawns is worth 1 point of material. So if we go here, white now is 1 point of material up on black. Now, that's pretty simple. So pawns are worth 1 point. Each piece has its own set of points that it's worth. The rooks over here are each worth 5 points. These are good. These are endgame heavy pieces. And then you got the knights and the bishops. They're both worth 3 points of material. These are the pieces that you're going to be jostling around with a lot in the opening and the middle game to try and get an advantage. And then, of course, we have the queen. The queen's the heavy hitter. The queen is worth 9 points of material. You got to watch out for the queen. And a lot of people, when they're beginners, they decide they just want to get the queens off the board as soon as possible. That's not always the best thing to do. You want to try and save it for the end game, and if you can get your opponent's queen, great. Sometimes the queen trade is good. A basic rule of thumb that I like to think of when I'm playing my games is that if I'm the attacking person, if I'm attacking my opponent's position, then I want to keep my queen on the board. But if they're attacking me, I want to trade their queen off, even at the expense of my own queen. That way, it's easier to defend. And then, the most important piece of all, the king. The famous king. The king has actually no value on the chessboard. Some people will say, oh, the king is worth 4 points. Don't listen to them. The king is worth nothing. But it's also worth everything. Because when the king is checkmated at the end of the game, it's over. And there's a few other rules. For example, let's just play a really bad opening. Right now, with my king, I cannot move it to this square. You cannot move your king into check. You can move it anywhere else, but you cannot move it into check. Make sense? Good. Now, a good basic principle for the game, when you're first learning out, like when you're below, anywhere below 1,000, really even once you're 1,000, but you don't need to know openings. I like to play the London system. That's the queen pawn. Then you put your bishop out here. Usually they'll bring a knight out at this point, and then you just lock it in. They'll usually do something else. You hear that? That was my phone. It scared me. Things happen. Moving on. So this is the basic setup that I like to use. It's called the London system. This is like a mirrored London system. Your opponent doesn't have to do that. But what I like about the London system is that basically, no matter what your opponent does, it's a system. It's a setup. So, I mean, obviously, if they do this, you can't bring that out. You want to take it. I recommend with the bishop, just to keep your pawn structure. Because one thing that a lot of people have to think about when you're just learning how to play chess, when you're just beginning, you have to think about your pawn structure. So, for example, if in a game, if, let's say in the opening, it's going to do random moves for black. Like, let's say that this is what's called a connect 4. I'm terrible at drawing arrows, apparently. This connect 4 here, that's really strong. I mean, my opponent has a connect 3 over here, then kind of a loose pawn there. Maybe they're going to play the bishop out. But even when they do that, you can, like, they have a big line on this end of the board. I can just block that. And now this bishop is useless. Like, where's he going to go? You can't go here because it's covered by my bishop. Sure, we could trade. But ultimately, that's better for me because of all these dark square weaknesses. And now, but also, my bishop is extremely strong on this diagonal. Well, on these two squares. But again, same deal with this one. But it's all about reading the board. So, when you're playing chess, you need to think to yourself, what does my opponent want to do? So if we just get our pawns out a little bit, like make a basic play here. This isn't a real opening. I'm just playing random moves for both sides, trying to show something. Like, let's say my opponent brings out his queen early. This is already, by the way, if you look at the analysis bar over on the side here, this is already, the computer says this is better for white. Because the queen's out and you have more development here with your pawns and with your piece. Here, black has really good control over this square. So what they should be doing at this point is they probably wouldn't move the queen. Let's say they had their knight out here like this. They're trying to bring their knight on this square. And because I put my knight on this square here, I almost called it a bishop. My God, I don't even know what the chess pieces are called. How am I teaching you? By putting this knight here, it's like that's a really strong square for that knight. Like, say if I just, I don't know, or even if I'm stupid, I do this. I'm like, oh, I'm striking back in the center. Now that knight, it says it's even. It would have been better to take with one of those pawns. But in this situation, that knight is on a really strong square. And let's say, just going to make a couple of random moves here. Let's say I do this, like my pawn's here. This square is now in this position. This square is now what's known as an outpost square for this knight. So an outpost square is a square that you control on your opponent's side of the board that cannot be, then the piece cannot be easily removed. So for example, there is no way I can remove this knight without trading off my own knight. Like, so I could remove it this way, then we're both losing equal material. So it's like a semi-outpost at the moment. But let's say, but let's say here that, I was making random moves. Let's say I have no knight, and he can't, again, I'm just setting up the position, kinda. So let's say we've had this position. Bishops are generally considered to be worth slightly more than a knight. So when I said a bishop and a knight are both worth 3, it's more like a bishop is 3.1 and a knight is 2.9. But it's debatable. It depends on the position, really. But in this position, this knight is in an outpost. It's on my half of the board. So like, this half of the board is whites and this half of the board is blacks. So this knight is on a square that's controlled by these two pawns on my side of the board that I cannot remove without giving up equal material or more. For example, like somehow giving my queen. Like, you wouldn't do that. It's just dumb. And of course, there's the basic strategy of chess, which is to checkmate your opponent's king. Now, when you're in the opening phase of the game, it's best, if you don't know what you're doing. Actually, honestly, king's pawn is considered the best opening move. Like you can even see here. Now it's 0.3. When I do it with the queen's pawn, it's 0.2. Well, it's hovering between 0.2 and 3. The computer's trying to decide what it is. It's settled on 0.3, but the point is the king's pawn is considered to be slightly better. And then say your opponent follows. Or let's say your opponent does something like something different. Like they want to play the modern with the bishop on g7. Then, the best thing to do here is take more space in the center. The more space that you can control in the center of the board, the better for you. this is where the majority of the fighting happens, in this little area of the board. And if your opponent just kind of, like, say they go there, that's fine. Now, Grandmaster Ben Feingold says never play f3. Respectfully, and I'm no Grandmaster, like I said, I'm 1100. I disagree with that. You want to play f3 sometimes in the right positions. That's all there is to it, is knowing when to play a move. And sometimes you got to do it by chance. Now the opponent, maybe they're like, oh, they have a big space advantage in the center. I'm going to play this move, protected by the bishop. Since I already have this kind of blockade here that their bishop can't get in on that line anyway, so it's like, yeah, whatever, may as well do that. Well then, you know, you can just take more space in the center. Like, you can just attack that pawn. If they take, that's fine. Take with the knight. If they take here, like, you're golden. Like, look at that. You have 2 pawns in the center of the board. They have nothing. You're like, you have a +2 advantage at this point. And basically, what that advantage bar means, it's like the equivalent of pawns. So, in this position, my position is so good that it's the equivalent of being up 2 pawns. Notice, we've made the exact same trades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pawns versus 7 pawns. Right? I got rid of 1 knight, and they got rid of 1 bishop. So our material is equal, but because of my presence in the center of the board, I haven't even made any moves yet. But because of my presence, it's considered being 2 pawns better. Now maybe the opponent's like, oh, okay, you know what? They got center control. We gotta bring our pieces together. Let's bring the knight out a little bit. That's good. And then at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I can put more pawns in the center, but I've got good control. But this pawn here is a little bit weak. See, the knight's attacking it. That's what he wants to do. He wants to attack it. I have 2 options here. Well, I have 3 options, really. I can push the pawn, attacking his knight. That's, not great. See, my advantage went from 3 to 2.1. Still not bad. I can develop bishop. I can defend the pawn. And that's also considered not great. Like, it's good. It's not the best move. I can play my knight up to c3 to defend the pawn. Personally, that's probably what I will play to get the knight out. Or if you want, you can be real dangerous. You can play queen here. Or you can be stupid and gambit a queen and just lose a queen in 1 move. Or you can go here. This one is counterattacking the knight. This is what the computer says is the best move. But personally, at my level, and at the level of anybody learning from this video, watching, I would play this move to get your knight out, and it's supported by this pawn, defending this. Maybe your opponent wants to... See, and at this point as well, look at all these pieces still back here. I mean, we also have the pieces here, but we have options. We can get our bishop out whenever we want. We can get our queen out. We can get this bishop out. Only piece that they can get out of the back rank is the queen. So it's like, okay, you know what I'm lacking? Let's just push us a pawn move forward, try and get the bishop out. It's like, okay, cool, that's great. I'm going to go and... This is a check that so many beginner players, myself included, like to make. And it's pointless because it can just be kicked out by the bishop, and then you have to move it again. One big rule of thumb in chess is that you don't want to move the same piece in the opening more than once before each of your pieces has had a turn. So each of your minor pieces has had a turn. Sometimes you can leave the rooks for a while. Also, don't forget that this special move called castling is an option. And on the other side of the board, so I'm just going to make random moves. And on the side of the board, the queenside castle, not my move, the queenside castle, your king ends up 2 squares away from the edge with the rook on the d file. And on the, that's queenside, also castling long. And on the king side, your king ends up on the G1 with 1 square away from the edge. Now, this, generally, it's better to castle kingside, because when you castle queenside, this pawn is loose. And a lot of times you'll have to find a moment to move your king over. And when you're castling kingside, your king already protects all the pawns. So that's nice. But you know, I think we've shown enough of the general basics, and I'm going to show you a game of myself playing one game of chess. Oh boy, I'm a little bit scared to do this, not gonna lie. I've never played a game live like this before. And here we go. I like to play 5-minute chess. I'm going to do my best to explain the moves I'm making as I'm making them. But I'm no grandmaster, so I'm just going to try to play a normal game of chess. So my opponent, Mr. Ayesui, we're both rated about the same. He's 1108, I'm 1100. I've been playing the Caro-Kann. Oh, okay, this is... See, I already don't know this. So I'm just going to play normal. He has now a chance to en passant and he doesn't take it. So this is just a regular Caro-Kann advanced variation. And now I'm gambiting this pawn, and he doesn't take it. That's fine. So now he has dominant control of the center, but I'm also pressuring this pawn. Oh, see, this is a good move. This is pinning my knight to my king. And for now, I can just ignore it a little bit. I want to actually him to take it so I can do that, but for now, I think I'm just going to do this. It's blocking my bishop temporarily, but after I take here, my bishop has an escape square. Now I can kick that out. See, I ask the bishop kindly, what are you doing? Oh, and he's backing up. See, this can be dangerous because now I can chase him. And yeah, if he went there, he would have had potential for trouble. And now I'm just going to casually, I can give a check. And this is actually fine because if he does that, that's just a pin. And if he blocks with this, then I'm defended. See, now he just pinned himself. So that's a good thing. And now I'm going to get a knight out. And I'm trying to get to this square. Okay. So he did that. He wants to move his knight somewhere. He can't take those because they're both defended. And also if he does, say he takes, I take, and then I win the knight. So this is fine. He's probably going to back up and then trade bishop. So I'm just going to castle for now. Again, I'm already down a lot on the clock. Oh, see, yeah. Now I can back up, and I always have this escape route here if I want it, if he attacks me. We'll see what he does. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm putting some more pressure on this, and he's only defending it once. So, yeah, he's attacking. That's fine. Only thing is, after that, he can take my rook. So I'm just going to go ahead and take him first. See, now he's attacking that. But here's the thing. That pawn was hanging. And now I'm also attacking. Yeah, he took. And boom. I'm just up a pawn. And I'm also attacking this. If he ever moves his queen, especially for some reason. If he moves it without thinking, lazily. Okay, he's attacking that. So now, honestly, I'm up a pawn. And I can defend. I can't really defend because of the knight. I'm just going to take that. He has slightly better... He's got to take with the queen, yeah. He has some better positioning here, slightly. Due to my own lack of development. But I'm just going to attack that knight. Try and get him to move. And then what I want to do is... Okay, yeah, cool. So he's attacking that pawn. He's attacking the other. He's attacking this pawn and this pawn. I'm just going to go here. This is not really an outpost. It's Schrodinger's outpost. It's an outpost as long as you think it's an outpost. And I'm also down a minute on the clock. This happens to me a lot. Because I'm really bad at managing my time. And I'm going to try and take this bishop. Because that'll damage his structure. And then at some point I want to sacrifice my own pawn for his. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Now I can go here. Attacking that with my queen. Not attacking it yet, because this is still defending. At some point I have to get rid of that. I can also, look at this. I can straight up attack his queen. Now, he basically has to move here or here. Otherwise, he loses the knight. I don't think that he's going to fall for it. Yeah, okay, that too. Right. And now, I want to try and find... See, now he's double defending this as well. So I'm going to start and try to get an attack going here. That, perfect. So I can even move my... Actually, yeah, my queen's better, because now I'm hitting this from long range. Let's see if you'll see that. I'm sure you will. He can also put his knight here with a little bit of an outpost. Yeah, he saw it. So now I want to try and... Really want to try and dislodge that knight somehow. I can do that. Let's see. If I go here, he takes, I take, so that's no good. If I go here... Yeah, I'm just going to go here. And now maybe he'll do that. If he does, I'm thinking to just take the knight. Because... see, I just blundered a fork. I straight up blundered a fork. And... I mean... I'm basically losing now. So I gotta try and... Do I have any way to... Yes, I do. See, I blundered a fork here, but not really, because I can take this. And now if he takes me, I take his queen right back. And I'm probably going to start talking a little bit... Yeah, see? And now, I mean, this still isn't great. Oh, I missed that. I should have taken that. Yeah, I'm just bad at the game. You know what happens. And now, see, this is an example of a position where white has slightly, like, I'm up by 2 pawns still. And because I have the extra piece, I am slightly better. Oh, there's a check. You always want to take checks. Now if he moves, yeah, right. Okay. So now I'm going to bring my knight back here. And at some point, push this pawn. If he takes, I have check. And I'm going to basically try and get his king away from this pawn so I can take it. I can also at some point start trying to push this pawn up the board. See, in this position here, I don't want him to let his pawn move forward. Okay, he's creating some escape for his king. That's good. That's smart. But now I can move my knight right back here because see that pawn was defending this square? Right? And now that he moved it forward, he forgot he was defending it. And now I'm also threatening a check. He'll go here. Okay, there we go. That's a good move. But now, oopsie. He blundered a fork. It happens. Now just take, and now I'm just winning. Like, just straight up winning. I can go here and, yeah, threaten to win that. He's going to try and win that pawn. I'm not going to let him. Bishop defends it from a range. Yeah, that's fine. I can give him a check. He's attacking my rook. So I want to... honestly, I just want to go back over here. I only have 41 seconds, so I got to move pretty quick. At some point, I want to go here again. I can even go... No, okay, I can't give him a check first, but I'm going to go here. Dislodging the defender of this pawn and taking it with check. We'll see what he does. He moves back. Good. Now I check. He goes there. That's fine. Check here. I don't have time to actually find the proper mate. I'm sure there is one somewhere. But now I can even just push this pawn and try and make a queen. To get this pawn... Okay. He's going for a check. That's not a mate yet. I got to be careful. If he moves his king here, this is checkmate. Okay, he's not going for that. That's fine. I can go here. Now he's threatening checkmate. So I'm going to make an escape square for my... Okay, I could have just taken his rook. I'm stupid. Yep, that's fine. He has no way to checkmate me. And I'm probably going to lose this game on time, if I'm being completely honest. A little bit of pre-move action. And now I'm just going to win. Pre-move up to queens. Oh boy. I didn't have to let him do all that. And now I can just do a simple ladder style checkmate. And, oh, perfect. See, that's what happens when you're low on time. What a way to end this video. See? That's why you should never resign. Because mistakes like this can always happen. Oh, I hate that this happened in a recording. I could have moved to pretty much any other square. See, this is a stalemate. Like, if let's go to the analysis of this game. Okay. See, because I was so low on time, I was scared I was going to lose on time. If I went here, it's not a stalemate. And then it's just an easy checkmate. Like, he's going to try and escape. And I'm basically forcing him to this side of the board. He can't move forward. He can't. That's just checkmate, actually. So there you go. One thing you got to look out for is always watching out for stalemates. What a way to end the video. Your teacher just got schooled. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like the video if you liked it, if you liked that anticlimactic ending. And like and subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. We put out new videos every single day of the week, Monday to Friday, and sometimes on the weekend. Have a nice day, and that leaves one thing left today. Say. One thing left to say. Ba-da-da-ba-da-bye.